Okay guys, so today we'll be talking about the strings, and the strings are any character, any number, any alphabet that is enclosed in either a single or a double quote. So for instance, you may have a name. For instance, you have name equal to, this is an example of a string. So whenever you see any character that is enclosed in a single or in a double quote, it is called a string. Okay, so this is same thing as this. If you want to use the single quote, make sure that you end it also with the single quote. If you want to use the double quote, make sure you end it with the double quote. Okay, so but if you want to write an email, for instance, so what we usually do is we use the triple quote. The triple quote could be single triple quote, it could be double triple quote. Okay, so it could be this. So you could say, thank you, Mr. Justin, for your support so far. Okay, so this is a way of writing long strings. So you have to either use the triple single quote or the triple double quote. Okay, so when you print your email or your name, so you have name, okay, so you have your name display here, and here is the other one. Thank you, Mr. Justin, for your support so far. All right, so you use this when you want to write your email or a lengthy string. Okay, so basically we're going to limit ourselves to the use of single or double quote. All right, so let's assume we want to write this particular course we are dealing with is actually for the absolute beginners. Okay, so the course title is Python for absolute beginners. Okay, let's say how do we put this so you understand what I'm trying to do? Okay, now what I'm trying to do is I want to use both the single and the double quote together. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use the single quote Python's course for absolute beginners. Okay, now this actually is telling us that this course is for beginners, so you can also notice that I'm taking my time to do the explanations and also do the typing. All right, so what we have here is Python's course for absolute beginners. Now what this actually is trying to teach us is that we can use both the double quote and the single quote together. But if you're starting with the single quote, you have to end it with the single quote. If you're starting with the double quote, you have to end it with the double quote. Okay, so here I've started with the double quote. Now in between I made use of the single quote. You can see here Python's course. Okay, so I also ended with the double quote. Now Python has no issues with this. When I run my program to print the name, I will have it displayed very correctly. Okay, so you can see, all right, it has no issue with using both of them. So where it will have issues is that if I decide to change this to a single quote while leaving the end as a double quote, you can see already without even running the program that everything has scattered. Okay, so what it literally means is that whatever you're starting with, you should make sure that you end it with it. Okay, so now we have given an example of how you can start with the double quote and make use of the single quote in between. Okay, so I want to also start with the single quote and make use of the double quote in between. All right, okay, so what I'm going to do here is I will say this course is for absolute say beginners. Okay, so I'm actually trying to use the single quotes, then I will use the double quote in between. Okay, so this course is for the absolute beginners. All right, so when I run my code, I will have it displayed here. Okay, you can see that the beginners where I use the double quote is displayed as well. So here you can actually use the single quote as your starting point quote and also end with your single quote, even if you want to use the double quote in between. So long as you're consistent with what you're doing, I don't think Python will have any issues with you. Okay, so this is how you avoid the error of having to start with a single quote and ending with a double quote. All right, so the next thing we are going to be talking about in our next class is formatted strings. I'm sure you have heard me talk about formatted strings before, so I'm going to discuss that in the next class. See you there. Take care.